Hello everybody and welcome back to the very awesome and very relaxing Eastshade. Though the weather doesn't look relaxing at the moment, does it? It is quite stormy. Now before we start, I just want to say a huge thank you for all the advice by one of our viewers and subscribers, Everything and the TARDIS Console. Now they have come up with a lot of really good advice and information on this game that I didn't really know. Now, do you remember those performances a couple of videos ago in the tarnished teapots? Now, I didn't know this, but they are actually booked, and there is a way around it. Now, I did say I wanted to watch them all. I don't know if we're going to watch them all today. I may try it, but what we're going to have to do is sleep before each performance. What we'll do is we'll head back to the TARDIS teapot in time for the next performance. We'll watch the first performance, and then what we'll do is wait until the next performance. So it might be like a few days away, it might be a day. We'll have to check in town for when that is. Whether that's going the right way. I think I'm going the wrong way. Oh, I've got to take these. Yeah, you guys know I love lore in games, and the TARDIS teapot has these 4 different performances which will give us a lot of lore. I am at some point I'm going to have a look at this. Oh, what's going on here? Hang on, where's this beam of light going? It's going over here. That's not what we want. We want that beam of light hitting a mirror. I need to hit that, don't I? I've got to turn it. I'll turn this. Let's go return. No, we can't actually return that one. So I need a mirror. I've got to wait for the sun to move, haven't we? So that once the sun moves over here, hang on, I can move this, can't I? Here we go. Put it down. Over here. I have to see whether the beam of light's going to hit it. I think that's going to hit it. Oh, maybe I'll put it there. No, that's not going to work. There. There. Oh, hang on, no, nearly there. There. It's like this through here, doesn't it? That's not going to work. What the frick is this? Okay, so maybe I need it there. Okay, I need to bounce it off this, don't I? So I bounce it off this and then have it bounce off something else. There's another one, isn't there? I don't know what that is, but I need another one of those reflectors. Easy reflector. Get that there. And I've got there. Is that blocked? If you put that there, it blocks it, so... Maybe that's the one I need to use. Where would I put it? There. I've got to send my bounce off that, haven't I? Ah, there we go, there's one. On there. That's one, and then I need to do this one. I think I've got to hit that, haven't I? Do 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 do. Oh, come this way. Got it. Boom. There we go. And what's this do? Oh, okay.
You finally arrived. Would you like some tea or maybe some pie?
Okay. Hello, Mudwillow.
Don't be shy now.
Who are you?
My name is known to all as Mudwillow. My passion is sight and all that it shows. Weaver of light and doctor of eyes. I hold the gift reserved for the wise.
Why do you need somebody wise?
With me lies the gift which everyone seeks. So far, you've all been liars and sneaks. Sought out by foe and drunkards unfit. Not one of you has held nearly enough wit. They all bumble in, dreaming of crimes. Every day they show up, it's a waste of my time. But the strings of light you folded and bent prove you've got brains, to some extent. It seems you may just be clever enough, although I bet your brain is packed full of fluff. But listen up, painter, for this is your task. Prepare your brushes and hear what I ask. Itself in a constant state of falling, to you it seems that it's always stalling. A stony side where the star hides away, a watchful eye at the peak of midday. When day turns dark, but a moment in time, when a star goes black, though everything's fine. The largest of eyes that stare back at you, a sight that aligns. That's the moment I choose.
Are you on about the moon? Are you talking about the moon, maybe?
It seems you may just be clever enough.
Oh, I've wanted to talk to you. Okay, so I think she's on about... I think she's on about... Yeah, balloon. No. Yeah, I have got to give that to the pilot.
That's the moment I choose.
And I've got to post it somewhere busy, right? Gonna meet... I've got to get a Mudwillow's mirror after midnight. Mudwillow, a lady living under gave me a strange riddle. And I honestly think it might be... She might want a painting of the moon, maybe? She got any lore in here, any books? She's got more of those mirrors, haven't she? I'll take that feather, thank you very much. You are an interesting character.
It seems you may just be clever. It's when day turns dark,
listen, lady, I'm busy. I'm looking around.
Black, though everything's fine. The largest of eyes that stare back at you.
Let's have a look around. This game is a lot more. It has a lot more depth than you realise. Ah, no way. Here we go. Does that mean we? Oh, this is cool. Look at this. We now know we can just come backwards. Come back when we want. Where's this? Ah, okay. That is just cool. Right, now I'm going to head back. Maybe we've got to do that bit at night when the darkness comes. And maybe the light goes underground, because there's mirrors down there as well. So we'll check that out. I'm not sure if we'll do it in this video though, because I want to head back to town. I want to go to Nava. Ooh, Shady and Folktales Volume 2. An owl-folk and a bear-folk went to the shore in a contest to see who could catch more fish. The bear roared and the fish cowered in fear, so the bear could catch them. The owl flapped her wings and came at the fish from above, so they did not flee as she swooped in to catch them. So they raced until midnight, when every fish in the ocean had been caught. The bear, certain that he had caught the most fish, was very tired and quickly curled into his bed for a long rest. The owl flew into her nest for a nap, quite confident that she had won the contest. Now, the fish were still swimming in the basket traps, and they did not want to be eaten. They pushed and shoved, heaving the baskets down a hill and landing with a splash into the ocean. But when the baskets burst open, the water they breathed wasn't salty at all. The fish had fallen into the lake instead, and they very much enjoyed the absence of huge sea waves. So the fish grew very comfortable in the Sinkwood Lake and the Fell Stream River, and they still live there to this day. As for the owl-folk and bear-folk, they each woke after a long slumber and forgot about the contest entirely. There's like 2 dolls there as well. That's cool. The lore in this game is so cool. I still need to figure that thing out there. Musically, we'll have to figure that out. I don't know if there's going to be like a riddle somewhere. Oh, that was a bit glitchy then. I don't need to talk to you, I don't think I do anyway. Do 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 do. Hello there.
Welcome to the inn below the tarnished teapot.
Hello, Emil. Nava roots.
Oh.
Do do do. Not time yet. Right, we'll sit and wait. Five minutes. I don't see anybody around.
Gather round, tea drinkers. Listen here. You ever hear of the story of the Pupper and the Oak? Nary a traveller should pass through the borders of Eastshade without hearing the tale. There was this boy, you see, a young pauper, who wandered Eastshade to and fro. Every day he settled himself on the cobblestone streets of Narva, the Portalindo, or anywhere he thought passer-by might take pity and toss a few glowstones his way. Most folks, they caught a glimpse of his tattered rags and unkempt appearance and looked the other way. Lucky he was, surviving all those nights he did as a youngster. Many days he made do with crumbs and fish scraps scrounged from the city. When he was fortunate enough to find such shreds before sunset, he'd hike along the shore to bathe in the hot springs. Other times he travelled no further than the forest river, thankful for a clean drink and somewhere to watch the colours of the sunset dance upon the water. Now, to say this pauper felt disparaged by his lack of glowstones would be a misleading claim indeed. He may have been alone by society's standards, Folks certainly did turn up their snouts at him, but he could oft be found humming to himself, his inner life filled with imagination and more than a speck of joy. Most folk would be saddened by the lack of bread and tea, or the absence of thick quilts to warm the bones on a cold night, and yet this boy had to live through it each day. Hard to say whether it was the energy he put out into the world or the sound of his voice when the boy hummed. Whichever it was, one night an elk came to drink at the river's edge, unperturbed by the pauper's presence. Now, when the boy spotted the elk, he could scarcely believe his eyes. Great shade! You ever experience anything like it? An elk coming to you in the quietest hours of sunset? Well, this elk, it was most unusual in more ways than one. Above its sleek body, white horns rose up and swirled together in the most magnificent way. When the elk spotted the boy, it stared at him a long moment, then bounded back into the forest, for it was a shy creature, as most of them are. I'm willing to bet few other folks even know they exist in these woods. In fact, the pauper was the only folk to which the elk revealed itself. Imagine that! A penniless boy sighting this sacred animal ahead of all other folks, including those of higher stature. Though the elk found the pauper strange, walking on two legs and all, every eve the boy went to the river, the elk showed itself for longer and longer periods at a time. One night, the elk was standing tall in the river, same place the boy usually stood, and the boy, with great uncertainty, slowly, very slowly, eased himself down in the water toward the elk. The elk, with those white swirled antlers, blonde fur and piercing eyes, stared evenly at the pauper. The boy fully expected the elk to dart away as he drew near, but even when the boy extended his hand and stroked its cheek, the elk stood stiller than the great shade. Wasn't long after that, pauper and elk became friends of sorts. It was as if the elk understood the boy's situation in the world and took pity on him. 'Twasn't long before the elk showed him the secrets of the forest, bounding ahead and communicating in some unspoken language, showing the boy which berries to forage and which would make him sick. Those rare times the boy fell ill, the elk even showed him which herbs to soothe the pain. Many a secret lies here in the forests, you see. Only some creatures and folk know how to commune with nature. I'm not saying I'm one of them. I just tell the stories of these folks. For a time, the boy abandoned his ventures into the city, preferring instead to wander round with the elk, experimenting with combining them herbs. Eventually, there came a day when the boy, now near a man, returned to town, selling his potions and salves to the people in clothes he made of the forest plants. Same folk who pretended not to see him in years before now lined up to buy these salves from him. Imagine that! What would you do in the same situation? Those folks giving you glowstones for things you made when not long ago they wouldn't even look you in the eye. Anyway, 'twasn't long before this man was one of the most respected citizens in Eastshade. Folks on faraway islands placed orders, and his wares were shipped far and wide, setting sail from the very docks where he'd eaten fish scraps as in years past. The pauper, medicine man, lived a long, prosperous life, till just a few decades back. Shame you can't meet him now. In fact, he could have had any tombstone he wanted. Granite, diamonds, gold leaf. But he requested one of the most simple around. Just a small pattern of stars, same as the ones Naba astronomers say mysteriously appeared in the night sky a few decades back. Some have even said those stars only came into view just shortly after he opened up his shop. Coincidence? Perhaps. But I think not. If you look closely at the night sky, you can find that bunch of stars shining more brightly still than any others. Most folks speculate on the shape of them stars. Many claim they take the shape of some sort of stag, with antlers that differ far from another stag they've ever seen. Of course, for me and my kinsman, we know the truth about them stars, and of the guardian elk that looks after the most overlooked among us, all the while keeping an eye on the forest and the balance of nature all around us.
So that's the first of our performances. What we're going to do, I'm going to... What the frick are you sitting on, mate? Jeez, that's a bit of... Okay, the pauper of the elk, storytelling begins at 7, okay. What I'm going to do is... There's going to be a bit of time difference for you guys. I'm going to kind of like wait a bit so the next performance is ready for us. And you guys won't have to sit through that. So I will see you all as soon as the next performance is ready. See you in a bit, guys. Right. You guys didn't have to wait long. It's basically just the next day. So that is what we're going to do for all the others. Right, let's see who the next performance is. The sailor and the sea tonight in the tarnished teapot. Okay, the sailor and the sea. You're still floating. Okay, sit here.
Come round, and hear the tale of lovers lost at sea. Every eve there was a man who drowned in a mug of mead, braving some of Eastshade's coldest nights to take up post in the famed lighthouse. He was awaiting his love, you see, making sure the light was always shining, so she'd see her way back home. Years ago, his wife took to the seas, hoping to lay claim to a pile of sunken treasure. 'Twas the time of year when the storms grew more terrible with each passing week, but she swore it was the last time she'd take on such a risk. Although he hated to see her go, he stood at the dock and watched as she disappeared beyond the horizon. 'Twas the nature of their love, you see. They supported one another despite all odds. Well, the townsfolk thought him crazy. Ever since his wife was gone, he swore he heard his love cry out every nightly eclipse, wailing above the ruckus of the sea. It was a near inhuman sound. Oh, oh. One night, the poor man couldn't take it anymore, believing his love to be so near, but seeming so far. He swore he saw her trapped on a patch of rocks away from the shore. He cried out to her, "Alara, Alara!" "Oh, oh," was the reply. In his excitement, he hardly noticed the approaching storm. He tumbled down the hill from the lighthouse and took the first small fishing boat he found. That night, he sailed his fate. It wasn't long before the storm started raging, the waves higher and fiercer than they had ever been. "Alara," he cried. "Oh," the reply, nearly drowned out by the power of the sea. The man paddled faster. He was so close, catching glimpses of her stranded on those sharp rocks. His heart ached, and in his desperation he fell deaf and blind to the monstrous wave building above. Crashing down around him, the sea shattered his boat and sent the man deep below the surface. Waves swirled him round and round in a great salty tornado. He hardly knew which way was up. Just as his breath was fading away, a great flash of light burst through the sea. A light so brilliant, it shone through the ocean's darkest depths in a rainbow of color. The light faded, and he couldn't believe his eyes. Alara was swimming straight for him. She pierced through the thrashing sea, and hundreds of small silvery fish swam round her in a cyclone. They swam faster and faster, the fish cycloning tighter around, until they fused to her body, changing her legs into one great flipper. In this form, she swam with the grace of a dolphin, her flipper propelling her down to her sinking love. Just before he would have drowned, this beauty of the sea grabbed him by the waist and shot straight out of the water with him in tow. As he surfaced, he gasped an enormous breath of air. The townspeople who had heard his cries watched from the shore said it was the last time they ever saw of him. Away they swam, never to be seen again. That's what the optimists around here will tell you, and it's the version I choose to believe. There are others who say husband and wife were lost in the same patch of sea. The man was so overcome with grief, he sailed out to find her and was never seen again. Though these storytellers have a hint of optimism, they say that if you look at the nightly eclipse, you can see them reunited in those brief moments up in the heavens. Of course, if you hear a man yelling Alara or see a pair of merfolk out at sea, you let me know.
Okay, so far we've had 2 tiles. The first one was really detailed, really good. Not anywhere near as sad as that tile. My god, this tile was sad. Oh my god, that was really sad. Really good though. Really enjoyed that one. Sadder in the sea. Oh, that was sad though. Right, okay. We're going to do the same thing for the next one. I want to see all 4 performances in this video. So I am sorry guys, there ain't going to be much action in this, but we did pick up a new quest obviously when we met that weird woman. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to wait and then we'll come back and watch the next performance. So, see you in a bit. Right guys, that was such a sad tale, that last one. Now the next one, let's hope. Actually, you know what? So far I've had 2 completely different sort of tiles. What's this one going to be? The Heart Root. Join us to hear the revealing tale of the Heart Root. Okay. Me interesting. Okay, I'm sure that one's even higher than they were before. Not long. Right, we sit down here.
Gather round, come hear tale of trickery and wit. There was once a witch who lived in a tiny hut at the edge of a swamp. She was skilled in the healing arts and could cure nearly any ailment. Though she had many visitors, her truest companions were a cluster of spiders living under her table. One day, a man ambled up the path and knocked upon her door. "You must be the wise witch Flera, curer of all ills." He looked around the hut with a sneer. "People cross the world for your cures, and yet you live in this terrible shack. Surely folks pay dearly for the chance to continue breathing." But Flera was not one for glowstones, and she quite liked her home. She only stiffened and asked what his ailment was. So, he told her of the terrible pains and aches he suffered. Horrible scratching in his toenails, in each strand of hair, and in his tear ducts. It was a torture like none other. But he'd heard of the cure, only to be found in the swamp near her home. The only way to ease his pain? The heart root. Well, in all her years of saving lives, Flera had never heard of such a route. But the bog wasn't so treacherous, and she had gone in many times for lesser cures. So, she agreed to find the heart root, and the man agreed to wait in her hut. Flera trudged through the swamp, thick with slime and the stinking air heavy with rot. When she came to a clearing of black clay, she thrust her hands into the wet muck, but alas, nothing. She dug for hours, her back aching and fingernails packed with mud. Finally, just as twilight fell to darkness, she found it. A spiral green tuber, pulsing and glowing like a star. She lifted the root, heavy with swamp water, and slid it into her bag. Not a moment later, something rustled in the shadows. A tiny silhouette showed itself beside her.
You have stolen from me. That root is not yours to take.
It hissed. The witch could just make out the sight of a moss elf, staring up at her in fury. She told him of the ailing man and the power of the strange root. But the moss elf only grew more angry and stamped his feet in the swampy muck.
It's a root of poison and destruction.
He screeched.
It cannot heal anything. I curse you. I curse you to remain in this bog forever.
And he snatched the root from her bag before darting back into the night. Flara's path melted away, replaced by a ring of identical tree trunks, branches crisscrossing, weaving a cage around her. Roots churned under her feet, and a bone-chilling mist draped itself over the bog. Flara sat down on a tree trunk and got to thinking, wondering about the man who had sent her in hunt of the root. Had he known the truth? Had he wanted to use it for evil? No way to tell. So she set to trying to remember if anyone had ever broken a moss elf curse. Just then, she felt a tickling down her arm and her leg. She fought the urge to swipe, and if it wasn't her own spiders, they brought terrible news. The supposedly ailing man had taken over Flara's hut, demanding riches and luxuries from the ill in exchange for false medicines. He'd thrown out her furniture and dumped the spiders into the rain, threatening to stomp them if they snuck back in. Now, it is often forgotten that spiders know an awful lot about a lot of things. With so many eyes and a knack for spinning tales, it's a natural skill. They knew exactly how to break a moss elf curse and set to spinning huge lacy webs, making a cocoon of the forest. They hummed softly, and when Flara cut through the silk, she was at the edge of the bog, her hut just up ahead. Laborers surrounded her home, painting and scraping, her precious herbs crushed beneath their feet. She peered through the window, and there was the man sitting upon a throne, and beside him, a large pile of jewels and glowstones. Flara burst through the door, and he jumped halfway to the sun. You've taken too much! There are hundreds of jewels before me, and not a one do you deserve! You haven't enough hands to even carry these riches, you snake! Now the spiders thought this was quite a funny idea, so they hummed again, and the man sprouted hundreds of hands, and his body grew long and snake-like. He shrunk smaller and smaller before slinking under the door and out into the bog. And so, you've now heard the tale of how centipedes came to be.
No way. That's how centipedes came into existence. Okay, now that was interesting. What's my favourite? The heartroot is very, very interesting. That's more like an old wives and folk tale, wasn't it, that one, rather than history. But I did like her way of telling stories. Right, let's go to the next one. Yeah, I think she was probably the best one we've seen so far as storytelling wise. Wasn't the best story, but she was the best at telling the stories. Still, my favourite story is the second one with the sailor and his wife and being reunited in heaven. Oh, it's just sad. But anyway, I'm going to see you guys in a bit for the final one. See you in a bit. Right, so the final one is here. What is this one going to be? 3 completely different sorts of tales, told in different ways. This one is Afira. Tonight, the tiniest teapot, 7 o'clock. Delightful melodies. Okay. I'm sure you're getting higher and higher. Are you comfortable up there, mate? Jesus, what is this? The Matrix? They're all floating, aren't they? Why are you sitting on? Are you sitting on the window ledge? You're alright. Right, here we go. Not long. Okay, so the game's music is overpowering the performance of the bard. She's still playing. Now this one is a completely different performance again, which is really good of the game. Like the fourth one was just music. Okay, so we got our inspiration. Right, okay, that is all that is. There's no actual tale to it, it was just the music, which is nice. It is nice, but it's not my favourite performance. Let me know in the comments what your favourite performance is out of all 4 of them. Did you like the lore of the world and the history with the first story? Did you enjoy, but it was also sad for you with our second heartbreaking story? Or did you like the story of the witch and how centipedes came to be with the third one? Or did you enjoy the fourth one, which was just an instrumental? Well, I actually thought it might have been like a song, like she was going to sing about something in the world, but no. Anyway, I think I'm going to finish this one here. Now, it's not much in terms of missions. I I just really wanted to do the lore, and finally done it. Gotta find, okay, that's not the moon. The next video I may do some of the nighttime ones we've got. That woman at the beginning with a riddle, to me I think that might be something to do with the moon, I think. But we'll have a look. I'm not doing this job either because it takes your inspiration. Oh yes, we have got access to be able to use the zip lines now. I did buy one. So we could always do that. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to finish this one here. Really enjoyed it. And we'll see what we do in the next one anyway, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, today was just lore. So that is that, and I'm happy with it, and I will see you all in the next one. Until next time, guys, thank you all for watching, and take care.